Howdy, how's it going? Welcome back, or howdy if you're new. Well, guys, we have the final look at the MSI Claw. I really tried to give the MSI Claw a fighting chance. I myself had a lot higher hopes for the Claw. I knew it was going to be a rocky start at the beginning. You know, all handhelds kind of need improvement with drivers and things like that. Nothing is ever perfect on launch day. I get that. I definitely had I guess some reservations. I knew some things weren't going to be perfect out of the box, but I also expected some updates, you know, after a couple days or so, you know, some people pushing some of these issues to the top and MSI having some open lines of communication with some of the other YouTubers out there, or even on their Twitter or Reddit or somewhere. Just nothing. Absolutely nothing. MSI has basically just left us in the dark on this handheld. I don't like that. It's not really a good feeling, in my opinion, to spend $800 on a device and out of the box, it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. There's no rhyme or reason this thing should have even been sent out to the public in this way at all, especially without some updates that could easily be patched in. Like, I mean, some of these things are just so easy that they could have added it in like 5 minutes, like the temperature monitor. You could have fixed that real quick. There's several other things about it that I have no hope for anymore. I have no hope for. If you run Cyberpunk, even at 720p, your FPS is going to drop down into the low 20s and it's going to stutter so bad. Rolling around in the city, driving around, loading into densely populated areas, you're going to struggle really bad. I mean, there's just so many issues with most games anyways. I get it, but the games that I play, like Call of Duty and Forza, and even playing those is a challenge. And they should be running really well, because on other Intel devices, you can run COD, you can run Forza, that's no problem. But even with this device, they just don't want to run perfectly every time. What's happening is I'll load into a match or try to load into a match and it just freezes. So you basically can't even get in the first match. You have to let it freeze, wait, and then try again. And I mean, it hard freezes completely sometimes and just crashes the whole, unit. There's also issues where if you're trying to get into the benchmark won't load either. There's also times where if you try to open up games like Doom will refuse to run the Doom Eternal, which is weird because some people could run it, some people can't. I don't know why, but if you try Doom Eternal, it's on Game Pass for free. Just try it. It won't work. I've tried the game save file hack and all that other stuff. It's just, it's not worth it. So Cyberpunk is abysmal. Games like Need for Speed Heat don't even run that well. There's just so many issues with gameplay. Now, the D-pad is horrible. It doesn't feel good. Anyone who's downplaying that is just simply being very disingenuous, in my opinion. These bumpers up here are they're okay. I don't like them, but they're usable. Your buttons over here, your ABXY buttons, they're fine. I don't have a massive problem with them. Positives, though, are the joysticks. Those are really good. The other issue is, honestly, I don't really think that there is anything that they're going to be able to do to save the entire unit unless they drop the price by $300 to make it lower than the Ally, because the Ally comes in way above this in terms of performance. The Ally is so much more enjoyable in terms of performance. I can turn this thing up to 1080p, medium settings, and get, 90 to 100 FPS completely smooth and stable. In games like Modern Warfare 3, I can load in and out of matches with no problems. 900p, 1080p, doesn't matter. 90 to 100 FPS all day, every day. Unplugged, plugged, it doesn't matter. Now, the one pro that the Claw had, now I do have to give, props to them, but only after a lot of tuning and tweaking was I able to actually get this. But the battery life, I can get anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours of battery on a lot of the games that I play. Whereas the Ally, I might get 45 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes if I'm lucky. The battery life on the Ally, it's not good. I'll just say that. However, there is hope for the Ally. There's lots of upgrades for it. You know, the software is really good. Everything works great. And it worked better out of the box than this worked better out of the box. So as far as like a user experience of what you get on day one, the Ally blew it away because we were able to just pick it up and start gaming right away. We didn't have a lot of these issues. We also didn't have button or joystick issues. Maybe a few people had complaints about it, but that's neither here nor there. They worked fine for the majority of people. Temperatures out of the box, this one is hit or miss. I've seen some people getting over 100, some people don't. Weirdly enough, after a few days of tinkering, I can get mine down into the low 70s. Temps aren't really a huge issue. However, in some instances, they do start creeping up because the fans just simply aren't pushing hard enough, basically. Honestly, it's not worth the money. If you were holding out for the Claw, I don't think it's worth the money. I don't think any of the Intel handhelds right now are just where it's at, because even the people who bought the 1X Player X1 with the 155H and the 32 gigs of RAM, they're still having really bad performance as well. And there really doesn't seem to be a lot of hope. I think if you're looking for a handheld and you need something like right away and you don't want to just waste all this time watching reviews and stuff, go ahead and pick up an Ally. $5.99, it makes perfect sense. There's tons of accessories and mods for this thing. There's just so much more that you can do with the Ally right now. So I mean, if you're looking to buy something to enjoy and play, the Ally is just like a win overall in every area except battery life. And if battery life is really that important to you, there's always an easy way around that. You know, I know it's like adding another device is buying another item, but you know, I got one of these right here. This is a Ugreen 145 watt power bank. This doubles my battery life on my Ally. I've got a little strap thing that'll allow it to strap to the back using the handheld DIY backplate. This is a lifesaver, so if I do want to take my Ally on the go, I can at least get double the battery life, and I don't have to permanently mod it with the laptop battery. However, since I have decided to keep the Ally, and I have decided to send this back, I decided to double down on bad choices. I actually picked up a Lenovo Legion Go. I wouldn't say it's a bad choice, but definitely have some new content coming with Lenovo Legion Go. I love Lenovo as a company. I was very impressed with the laptops that I reviewed for them. I've actually got to send one of those back today. It's been really cool to see how well that the public has taken in the Lenovo and taken in the Ally. Even from day one, we didn't have a massive amount of issues. We may have had one or two issues here and there, like the reader on the SD card. It is what it is. That's not a deal breaker for me because I upgrade the storage on all my devices. I'm running a 2280 on mine. Mine's modded with the 2280. I got a 2 terabyte in here. I've also got a couple 4 terabyte drives. There's just so much more that you can do with the Ally that you can't do with the Claw. Upgrading the Claw, it's going to be a pain in the butt. You have to break the warranty seal. You have to change out the thermal paste because you're going to end up having to remove the cooler to get to it. 16 gigs is actually performing worse on the Claw because of how many services are running in the background, how much RAM it's using just sitting idle. It's like 60% in some cases, just sitting idle. So you hit into a game, it's going to use 100% easily. Whereas and that's like, I could get this thing fully tweaked down to like 30%. With the ROG Ally, I can get it down to like 20%. So like you get an extra 10% of RAM right there. But what really happens too is there's no VRAM adjustment. So your VRAM sometimes can overshoot in games. So it might try to allocate like 8 gigs of VRAM or 6 gigs. But really the game you're using is only going to need 2 gigs of VRAM. But it needs more RAM, but you're kind of effed out because it automatically allocated it. With the Ally, you can actually allocate it manually. You can change how much RAM and VRAM so the balance can be correct for the games and the settings that you play. So if you mainly play at like higher graphic settings and like 1080p high maxed out everything, you're going to want more VRAM. But if you play higher FPS, lower quality or medium quality, you're going to want less VRAM and more RAM. So also me, I like to listen to music. So when I'm playing some of my games, I'll toss on Spotify. Good luck with the Claw, because you're going to be struggling for every little bit of RAM, and you're going to be constantly trying to close out every little application you can. Constantly, you're going to have those massive frame drops when it loads into a new scene, and it's already taxing your storage because it's using your page file, which is virtual RAM. And there's just so many caveats to the Claw that I can't get past them. I can't get past a lot of the issues on day one. And that to me is a bad sign, because both of these should be performing pretty similar. They really should. They shouldn't have this massive disparity between the performance like they do. Now, I do get that drivers will improve, but we haven't had any updates for well over a week and a half now. We haven't had any communication about any of the problems or complaints. I don't know. It's not worth the price. If they fix all the issues, is it worth the price? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think they're going to need to significantly lower the price. I've talked to a lot of the guys I know, and I'd say 75% of them are returning theirs, and the other 25% just are going to keep it because they don't really need the money. It's a write-off for them or whatever. It's not really a huge deal. So at the end of the day, it's going back. I'm sorry, MSI. I gave you ample amount of time, ample amount of patience. I've spent dozens of hours of tuning this thing and trying every little trick in the book. It's so much that you have to do to this device just to get it to where I've got it today. The average consumer who's going to take this thing out of the box is not going to have a good time with it, especially if you've played an Ally. If you've played an Ally, then this is just a joke at this point. It's a joke. What a joke. I don't know who they advised on this or why they didn't get a lot of the community feedback that we see with other handhelds. It's just weird. It's a weird handheld in a weird space right now. A lot of the things that you buy in life that are like day one, it's to be expected that you're basically a beta tester now. They don't test these things in the wild like they used to. So no matter what you buy, if it's a day one launch or if it's a brand new product, brand new GPU, you're a beta tester at the end of the day. So you're paying to beta test things. It's a weird world we live in where they just don't do the things in the background that they used to. It is what it is. So I hate to break the news. I hate to say I'm sorry that I'm sending it back. I'm sorry I'm giving it up, but it is what it is. But with that said, stay tuned, because we have a ton of new mods that I have discovered for the ROG Ally, including some new joystick mods that have significantly improved the feel and the accuracy and the outer accuracy. I've improved that a lot, better than anyone has done so far. I made a short about it if you want to go check it out. We'll probably dive into that in the next couple of videos once I get everything filmed out. And hopefully next week you'll see some Lenovo Legion Go content. Immediately we're going to do some NVMe upgrades, some cooling upgrades, some performance mods. We're going to do a ton with the Legion Go because I think that is a beautiful looking handheld. Honestly, it's got a great size screen, which is what I want. I wanted a little bit bigger screen. These 7-inch handhelds are just too small for me. I would love a bigger screen to work with. So we'll do a full unboxing and honest review. That's how I keep it here. I don't want to just stick a turd in your pocket and try to pump something up that's not worth buying, because there's other people who can do that for you. If you need confirmation bias on a purchase you made, and if it's not a good purchase, I'm sorry, I can't lie to you. I have to keep it real with you guys, because that is the reason I made this channel. I wanted reviews that resonate with people, but they're honest. They give you the clear and dry truth. Sometimes the truth hurts, sometimes it sucks, but I'd rather know the truth before I buy a device. That way my expectations aren't too high and I'm sorely disappointed. We were overhyped, overpromised, and underdelivered. MSI, I gave you my full faith. I tried everything I could to resolve some of these issues. I worked on a few of them. I got a few of these resolved, like the high idle memory usage. I was able to get the 1% lows a lot better, but it's still not able to run a lot of the games. It still freezes in a lot of the games. There's still the bad D-pad, no updates, no communications. You don't see any of the major YouTuber outlets covering it and talking about it. It's dead on arrival. With the depressing news out of the way, I hope you stuck around to the end. If you stuck around to the end, I really appreciate it. You guys are the reason I do this. Absolutely. You guys are OGs, and I really, from the bottom of my heart, love you guys. Like I said, in every other video, if you need anything, holler at me. There's the Discord link below. You can comment below. You can do whatever you want to do, but if you drop in the Discord, tag me. I'll answer any of your questions. If you need tuning advice, you want to get your devices running faster, we've got good people in here. Honestly, I really just enjoy the community. I enjoy improving these devices, tinkering with them, modding them. And if you like that kind of thing too, definitely subscribe, because we got tons more coming. This is not the end of the road. It's the end of the road for the Claw, but good riddance. It belongs in the trash can. It really does. This thing is poo-poo. Don't buy it. But guys, I'm gonna head on out, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. So I hope all you guys have a good afternoon, good evening, or good night.